Love marriage is an aspiration across the board. Rich, poor, boys, girls, small towns, metros, everyone everywhere wants love marriage. Our films, songs, Instagram reels have trained us to believe that the people who get to choose their partner are the lucky ones. That love is a shortcut to a happier marriage. But here is the uncomfortable question. Does love actually make marriages better in India? Or is that just a fantasy we have inherited from Bollywood and social media? We have explored the sociological research to answer this question. And you are going to see that the answer is not just surprising, it's brutally counterintuitive. Before we ask whether love makes marriages better, we need to understand what love marriages mean in India. It's not as modern as we think, and it has never been fully respected. Sure, the ancient texts mention Gandharva Vivaha, a marriage based on mutual attraction, but such a marriage is ranked near the bottom. It was allowed, but not encouraged. It bypassed parents, caste rules, and family authority, so it was treated as impulsive and disruptive. Now jump to 1872. The first civil marriage law lets two adults marry without religious approval. Legally revolutionary, but socially meaningless. Very few people used it. Choosing your own partner was still seen as shameful, rebellious, Western, and dangerous for the society. And what happened in the next 150 years is surprising. Despite all the development, exposure, and modernity, love marriage does not rise. It basically stays flat. What rises instead is a completely Indian innovation, the hybrid marriage. Parents shortlist, the couple talks for a few days or months, and everyone pretends the final decision is mutual. You get this half love, half arranged setup where the relationship looks modern to the young and traditional to the parents. And beneath the romance, one rule never changes: caste. Even today, most so-called love marriages happen within the same caste, class, religion, and language group. So why isn't love marriage rising in India? India simply does not give young people the space to fall in love safely. Most can't date without fear. Parks, cafes, campus corners, everything is monitored. Privacy is a luxury here, not a right. And families watch everything anyway. They check your phones, they know who your friends are. A harmless rumor that you are now friends with a boy or a girl can travel through three aunties and kill that relationship before it even begins. On top of that, there is dependence. Most young people rely on family for education, housing, reputation, and basic safety. You can't rebel easily when your entire future hangs on parental goodwill. Does this mean young people don't fall in love in India? Of course they do. But we see a strange pattern here. Young people date, but they don't marry. They treat romance as a trial run for marriage, a way to test compatibility, explore emotions, and learn how relationships work. But the final choice still belongs to the family. Many even end relationships the moment parents disapprove. So yes, youth experience love, but they rarely fight for it. Young men say, I want to marry her, but I can't hurt my parents. Young women say, love is important, but he must respect my family. Thus, family sits inside the romance, not outside it. Romance is tolerated only when it converges with family expectations. Anything else is seen as waste of time, dangerous, or just an excuse for cheap behavior. And because of all this, many are even scared to fall in love, unless the person matches parental expectations. And then comes the marriage market itself, which runs on cold calculations. Most people want to marry up, someone wealthier, more stable, better looking, and higher status. If the beloved is from another caste or class, it gets worse. The better positioned person in the couple feels that risk. Many quietly drop the relationship and opt for arranged marriage with a higher or same status partner. All this happens under the banner of parental pressure. And even when someone does fall in love successfully, marriage is risky. The fallout can be social isolation, financial cutoff, even violence. Most people don't want that fight. And that's why India invented a workaround: find love responsibly, which really just means find someone your parents are likely to approve, someone within the right caste, class, language, and community. The result: most love marriages quietly turn into negotiated marriages. Families run background checks, astrologers get involved, income and caste parity become non negotiable, and the romance is reduced to packaging. The wedding looks modern, but every structural rule shaping the wedding remains traditional. What happens to those who marry out of love despite parental opposition? Well, they don't get a fairy tale. Everyone assumes that choosing your partner means you will automatically have a happier, healthier marriage. It feels intuitive, right? The reality is, love marriage does not guarantee more freedom, power, or equality. Not in India's current socio-cultural scenario. When couples marry for love, especially against parental wishes, they enter marriage with a romantic head start. They have more closeness, more conversations, more optimism. Those early months often feel lighter and friendlier than arranged marriages do. But that advantage collapses fast. The structure they marry into matters far more than the feelings they start with. Many women choose love marriage hoping that it will lead to a nuclear home and more freedom. But the reality hits fast. Rent is unaffordable, jobs are unstable, childcare has no support, and in-laws still hold all the resources. So, most couples end up living with their families anyway. The same expectations land on them: cook well, adjust, maintain harmony, keep the man connected to his family. The only difference is that the in-laws now watch more closely. They distrust the woman. They assume she seduced, manipulated, or stole the son away from them. She is monitored more, corrected more, judged more. Every mistake she makes is seen as a character flaw. Since the couple chose each other, any conflict is blamed on the girl. If the husband disagrees with his family, she is accused of changing him. If she asks for small freedoms, she is seen as ungrateful. We accepted your love marriage, now behave. Even the husband also asserts dominance, saying, I married you against my parents. You should obey me. Love marriages sometimes show equal or slightly higher conflict because couples lack extended keen mediation. So the great irony is this: love marriage does not end family control. It just forces families to reassert dominance in subtler, more psychological ways. For many working class couples who elope, love becomes an economic risk. They lose family support. They struggle to pay rent. Childcare becomes a crisis. Without backup networks, small fights turn into bigger ones. The love that felt liberating starts feeling like a gamble they can't afford. Even in more comfortable families, love marriage does not magically dissolve hierarchy. The husband is still expected to be the provider. The wife still carries most of the care work. The moment a child arrives, the old gender scripts resurface. The easy friendship of early marriage gets replaced by tiredness, expectations, and financial pressure. Within a few years, the difference between love and arranged marriages blur. And the caste reality hits hardest. Very few love stories cross caste boundaries, but when they do, the punishment is severe. Isolation, financial cutoff, harassment, threats, and sometimes open violence. Couples who thought they were building a new life together end up fighting the weight of history. Many break under that pressure. Love becomes acceptable only after it is no longer dangerous. When resisting it costs the family more than letting it happen. Families simply get tired of fighting it. They accept it only when resistance begins to damage their own social standing, their own reputation, their internal harmony, or their son's loyalty. So, love is not embraced, love is tolerated. This is why love gives a better start, not a better marriage. The first months feel more equal, but equality disappears when the couple encounters joint family, the housing market, caste expectations, and the everyday grind. If anything, arranged marriages stabilize quicker because the families absorb the bride and they support the marriage because they built it. In love marriages, the couple carries the entire load with half the support. And when real life enters, money, childcare, family drama, romance is usually the first thing to be squeezed out. So, does love make marriages better in India? Only when the structure around the couple lets it. Love marriage in India is never just about romance. It's a symbol, a shortcut, a projection of the future people wish they had. First, it symbolizes modernity. Ever since the colonial period, Indians have treated love marriage as something Western, individualistic, rebellious, and therefore modern. Even today, when someone says, I want a love marriage, they are usually expressing something deeper. A desire for autonomy, dignity, choice, and a partner who treats them as equal. Love becomes code for equality, not just emotion. Second, it promises escape. For many women, it represents a way out of suffocating homes. For many men, it is a way to dodge caste expectations and family micromanagement. Third, it's a class aesthetic. Urban, English-speaking India sells love as progressive and aspirational. Dating apps, Netflix shows, Instagram reels, they all market love as freedom. So, some of us adore love marriage not because it consistently works, but because it represents a world we wish existed. One where choice, equality, dignity are normal instead of luxuries. But here is the twist most people miss. Many Indians don't necessarily want love marriage. They want intimacy. They want someone who listens, someone who respects their work, someone they can talk to. They want less interference, less drama, and more emotional safety. Those are basic relationship needs. And ironically, arranged marriage is slowly, awkwardly trying to evolve in that direction. Parents now allow some choice, a few conversations, a little compatibility check. Not because they believe in romance, but because they know intimacy matters for a marriage to survive. After going through all the sociological research, one thing becomes obvious. A good marriage in India has almost nothing to do with whether it started as love or arranged. The source of the match is irrelevant. What matters is what the couple has to work with after the wedding. The biggest predictor is equality. When both partners share decisions, respect each other's work, and divide responsibilities without turning it into a gendered battlefield, marriages feel lighter. When that balance is missing, love can't save anything. Support systems matter too. Not the suffocating, surveillance type families, but the kind that backs you during crisis, childcare, illness, financial dips. Indian marriages thrive when couples aren't fighting the entire world alone. Stability beats romance every single time. A steady income, manageable living conditions, and predictable routines do more for a marriage than 10 years of dating ever can. And finally, shared values go farther than love stories. Couples who communicate well, handle disagreements without humiliation, and see each other as teammates tend to last, regardless of whether their wedding had a Bollywood backstory or a matrimonial biodata. In short, it's not the origin of the marriage that matters. It's the conditions under which the marriage is lived that makes the marriage successful. Thank you.